Hello, everybody. Psychic Soul Senses here. As promised, we are going to talk about schizophrenia and psychosis and the possibility of it being spiritual warfare or entity attachments. Now, the reason this subject is so intriguing to me is because my child was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia when she was 13 years old. The symptoms were mild. She would get to where she flipped out, like over door locks if the door didn't lock right, or if food got low. And to her, low was, there was a week's worth of food. It's too low. It needed to be piled up, right? It's paranoid. Um, the medicine they wanted to put her on was lithium. I did not agree with that, right? So, with her symptoms being mild and us being able to keep the majority of it at bay, that's what we did. After her first child, she got pregnant with her first child and had her after she turned 18, right after her 18th birthday. So, it was the year she turned 18, Annie came. It changed her. It was like she got into a depression, and I think that's part of what's wrong with her is postpartum depression. But her symptoms started getting worse, right? And then she had, I'll tell you the ages of my grandchildren so you can see how close she had them together. So my oldest is 11 now. Then we've got 9, 8, 6, and 3. Okay, so all of these children she's not able to take care of now. She's 30. She is barely able to take care of herself. She's in such a psychosis state of mind that now she's barely there. When I got her a couple of weeks ago and started the process of custody, she had just got out of the hospital and she was in the state that she is now in because she recognizes me, but and she eats and functions and everything, but she's not in reality. You don't get very much reality out of her. So I had asked her, like, so say when I picked her up at the hospital, she was and talking to people that I couldn't see, like having conversations. And she would be, yeah, let's do that. Let's do this. And I would be like, hey, I'm right here. And then she would, you know, focus in on me for a brief few seconds. And then, boom, she would be pulled by another voice. I'd ask her, who are you communicating with? She would say, her counsel. The things that they tell her is some of it's bad, some of it's not good at all. Um, but and I'd say the most part of it's not good. But she was very spiritual when this happened. And so when whatever moment that she split, because I feel that's what has happened here. She split. She's had traumas. She was molested as a child. I found out. I filed charges against the kid that did it, and we left the state. We moved. Uh, it wasn't an ongoing thing, it happened a couple times and fixed it. But when the memories, like, it seems like when you're a child, right? You forget your young baby memories, childhood memories after 5, right? Until you're like 12 or 13, you start going through puberty, and then your brain's growing and your memory and all the frontal lobe stuff is fixing and trimming up, right? Finishing touches. And you start remembering things from when you were a child. So those memories come back and she got traumatized again. Um, and then learning that if she was traumatized, because that's how that generation is. I'm sorry. I don't want to try to offend any. I'm not offending. I take that back. But it seems like that generation gets offended easy. I'll say it that way. And so being that and learning that you could get what you want out of that, she's used that. Feel sorry for me, pity me. And she looks innocent. She did look young, but I'm starting to look like her younger sister than her mother. And that's sad. It breaks my heart every time I see her. It's worse. So I've done a lot of research here because some of the crazy stuff, like one day she said God told her to harm us or my cat, like make a sacrifice. Uh, One of the other things I've noticed is they realize that God is inside them, and but instead of taking that as the spark, the spirit, the soul that God gives you, which is in the Bible, we have the spark of Christ in us, your soul, your spirit. She took that as we're God's. And in a sense, we are, but she thinks she wrote the Bible. She's God. And so I've noticed that a lot of people that have psychosis from methamphetamines do that. That was her drug of choice. She started using that about 10 years ago, and cocaine, and it's been gung ho since. Now, some background about her. She's very intelligent. Um, she went to St. Joseph High School here in Ironton. Uh, a math whiz. She taught the math instructor how to do math. He was impressed. He was so impressed. They went through the entire math system in like an hour and a half. Her dad was real good with math and numbers like that. She was almost borderline, I'm gonna say like a borderline genius, and now she's can't even communicate who she is and what she needs. It's sad, and I see a pattern of it. Part of the problem I have with that issue is unless you've been around someone that has displayed psychosis or psychotic tendencies, it scares you. It literally scares you. Her kids are scared. They've witnessed episodes. It literally scares you. So you would have to know or understand what's going on for it not to scare you. Or have a strong mind at least, to accept. It's crazy. It's crazy when you're dealing with mental illnesses or people that are displaying mental illnesses or characteristics of such. Um, so, anyways, I ran across when she started talking about Greek gods and being able to, like, angels and devils and demons and all this stuff, right? She told me one day, I was going for a job interview. She said, tell them that your daughter is the second coming of Christ and they'll give you the job. And she was serious as shit. So, anyways, I ran across Jerry Mikowski, I think is how you say his name. I'm not sure. I ran across his research on Leap Project. Rex Bear is awesome. Shout out to him. He probably never watches my crap. But this is an important issue for people in our town, in our community, in Lawrence County. This is a thing several people I have heard of this has happened to, and they have that rehab now, rehab, because it can't be a real rehab, right? So it's a rehab for schizophrenic people. Why? Why? All they're doing is giving them a bed, giving them food, and at the end of the medical thing, when it's done, because you can't do behavioral health with them, when it's done and they're able to just walk out and go get high, it starts all over again. That's all that is. That needs to not be there. Okay, the rehabs are far enough. Let them keep their rehabs, line their pockets with the rehab money. There's umpteen of them in Ironton. Great. You guys have that. But that one for mental people, it should not be there. It should not be there. You can't help people with psychosis. If it's there for other people, great, I understand. For other reasons, great, I understand. But you cannot take someone with that much psychosis that loves methamphetamines, that would rather choose that over everything else, and think you're getting them clean in your rehab. Oh, it's not a rehab, they said. It's not a rehab, but it is a rehab. It was just another way for Lawrence County to get it in there because they're not allowed to have no more rehab. So here comes, hey, all the psychosis in Ironton, we'll put this center up over here behind Speedway and we'll get some funding for it because it's for mental illnesses. Yay, and no one's qualified to do shit. I'm sorry for that rant. Anyway, so you get how I feel. Now, I'm going to pull up some of Jerry Mikowski's stuff because he is the first one. Well, I've heard of other doctors talk about how it's spiritual warfare. When I went to pick my daughter up at King's Daughters, 2 or 3 nurses up there said it sounds like spiritual warfare to me. Her counselor said it sounds like spiritual warfare to me. Now, I know where I've been studying for my degrees and my past studies in psychology that we don't talk much about that, but there are spiritual psychiatrists and counselors, and they do study to go into that field, and now they're offering more classes towards that area because of people having spiritual awakenings. Because how can you tell someone if they really, hey, I found God, he talked to me, I wasn't high, this, that, and the other, but can you tell me what's going on? That's a different situation. And you can't shun them away because you don't believe that that's possible, right? So, yeah. Anyways, I will, I'm going to go pull that up and I will be right back. You won't even know I'm gone. Okay. First, I want to go over what schizophrenia is. And schizophrenia is a serious mental disorder in which people interpret reality abnormally. Schizophrenia may result in some combination of hallucinations, delusions, and extremely discorded, wait, disordered, distorted thinking and behavior that impairs daily functioning and can be disabling. People with schizophrenia require lifelong treatment. Early treatment may help get symptoms under control before some complications may develop. So, in psychosis, a severe mental disorder in which thought and emotions are so impaired that contact is lost with eternal reality. They were suffering from psychosis. The different psychosis is the experience of symptoms that can often be alleviated by treatment. Psychopath is a term used in medical and legal communities to denote someone who lacks empathy and guilt among their other symptoms and is associated with antisocial personality disorder. Let's see what psychosis treatment says over here. Psychosis is an experience in which a person loses touch with reality. Yep, see, they hear voices that we cannot hear. They have beliefs in something that are really false, like we know they're false. Incoherent nonsense speech, social withdrawal. Inappropriate behaviors. She has a lot of inappropriate behaviors, sexually inappropriate sexual behaviors. That is what scares me the most. All right, so here we are on Jerry Mikowski's page. Now, let me see if I'm pronouncing this right. Marzinsky. Sorry. Jerry Marzinsky. Sorry, sir. Um, he has a bunch of research. Look, he was on with Saved by or Raised by Giants. He was on with uh, Rex Bear Leak Project. He was on some stuff. He was on some good shows. Okay, guys, hang on. I gotta take care of something real quick, so you won't even know I'm gone. Okay, guys. So it was not Leak Project. It was not Rex Bear. He was on Jay Widener's. Um, and then he was on Raised by Giants. Both of those I will mention in the description. They're good channels. Check them out. Good people. They communicate too. Like if you message them or shout out, they're not snobby channels. They will mention you back. They like, they're good people. So, uh, Ryder's a very good interviewer. He has a lot of good stuff. So, let's see who else is he on there with. He talks about entity possession, unseen energetic parasites, in entities, mental illness. Uh, oh, he's got the one through the goggles. Look at that. That would be a whole new video, but the Vietnam vets where they see, I wanted to do this because they brought this stuff back. Well, check this out. This is all educational purposes only.
Father's role in the military brought him very close to it many times. So my father did 3 tours in the Vietnam War. And in his second tour, he was advanced enough in rank, and he was there, I think, 11 or 12 months. And when he was in country at that point, he's always been a field officer and came up in the military through the Korean War in a battlefield commission. And so, the military likes guys like him, and they let him be in charge of a couple of different projects. One of the projects that he was in charge of at the time was this technology that they introduced into Vietnam that almost brought the war to a standstill.
Wow.
And this technology was a night vision goggle, but it's not night vision as we have it now, okay? Because the night vision goggle was done in the red spectrum. And so when my father came back from Vietnam...
You mean infrared or?
No. I'll explain.
Ordinary red.
Oh, ordinary red. Okay. So instead of seeing, when you look at a night vision goggles now, you see green. Everything is translated into green for you. And human eye sees green, more colors, shades of green than any other color. It's part of our evolution, our need to find food.
So that's clever then.
Correct. But see, here's the thing. It started off as red. And so the night vision goggles were introduced to helicopter pilots and gunnery people in Vietnam. And I won't hesitate as to the...
Okay, so could you imagine seeing that in an airplane or something, right? Whoa. Okay, I hope I didn't mess it up too bad.
We'll take him off. And he actually got praise from the military for the way that he dealt with all of this. But the effect was this. A gunner in a helicopter would have no problem using these goggles. And only everything is showing up as a sort of a faint reddish image. And it was true night vision the way we have it now. And even a greater depth, because you could also flip it and get an extra layer that was sort of yellowish that would be heat signatures as well. And they don't have those combined anymore in these goggles. Anyway, the goggles that were presented to the gunners, and my father tells the story of the very first time they're out with them, and they're flying along, and he's in the front of the helicopter with the pilot. And all of a sudden, in a very peaceful area, not anything going on at all, the gunner in his on the starboard side of his helicopter starts firing wildly at their height, not at anything on the ground, but in an area that he was shooting at, and basically causing other helicopters in their little flotilla to have to react. And my father goes on back to the gunner, basically demanding, "What the hell, dude? What are you shooting at?" And the kid is just sweating profusely, and his eyes are just dilated beyond belief. And my dad thought he was dealing with another heroin addict, but this was before it had gotten really bad in Vietnam, and the kid was not exhibiting those kind of symptoms. He was reacting to what he had seen. And he's describing to my father that he was shooting at these basically flying demons that were flying alongside the helicopter. And he knew they were coming to get him because they were gesturing at him and they could see him. And so he reacted, and he started shooting his Bren gun, big 50 caliber slugs at these things, right? And they were flying along right next to the helicopter. So he's firing out directly from the helicopter, and there are other helicopters in the vicinity. So it caused all kinds of problems. And this goes on repeatedly, week after week after week. Every time they try and use these night vision goggles, at some point they encounter monsters, true monsters. Now, officers had been told not to wear these. Okay, the pilots were told not to wear them. But my dad put them on to see what the hell was going on, and to hear him describe it, it was like being in the worst kind of a demonic gothic hell. That you'd look out at the tops of trees and you'd see these creatures.
Okay, we're not going to go no further with that. Yet again, this is educational purposes only. Wow. Okay, that is all the time I have for this video right now. We will go back through Jerry Marzinsky's work tomorrow, because I want you guys to hear what he has to say about these entities. And the girl that presents with him, Lynn, she's a nurse and she has a gift. She has third eye vision like I have, and she can see the energy. That's one of the things he talks about on Jay Widener's show is the plasma energy where it swirls in and you know an entity is there. I see that stuff all the time. So anyways, this will be part 1. I will get back to you guys with part 2. I don't know how many videos this is going to be because it's a lot to unpack. But again, this was learning purposes only. Thank you so much, Jerry Marzinsky, for putting this material out there for people like me that have dealt with this issue for years. It helps me understand a little more. So there we go. And thank you all. Please like, share, and subscribe and be the reason someone believes in good people. I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.